All right, Scott, I have got my Colby Plus white label right here, and
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm bringing it to Peru.
I know I'm bringing mine to Peru. I know for a fact. I've got the same white label myself, probably the same size, a 3.2. I'm expecting the water to be around 62 degrees and the Colby Plus white label. Tell me a little bit about the white label, David.
Well, Colby is the introduction of the brand was let's make three different product categories. One of those is wetsuits, and we'll use the most premium materials, direct to consumer, no hang tags, no logos, all that stuff. So it was Yamamoto rubber for basically half the price of what you can get a Yamamoto wetsuit anywhere else. And so this new white label line is basically a more affordable option. So even though the Yamamoto suit's 300 bucks instead of let's say 7 from a different producer, great price, but still 300 bucks. So the white label stuff is without the Yamamoto, but still a really premium quality. Like he says, specifically the website says we're using a generic but high quality limestone based neoprene, which costs considerably less than our Yamamoto suits, and then we're passing the savings along. So still super stretchy jersey on the outside, recycled super smooth stretch jersey on the inside. And it's not, of course, the quality of Yamamoto, but it's still extremely high quality and just way less expensive.
Yeah, I love this utilitarian suit, It's for me, it's a great backup suit. Of course, in the position I'm in, I have access to lots of different suits, and it's wonderful to be able to pull a dry suit on, in the winter or wherever you are where the water's chilly. And so I love the fact that I can get a super high quality suit for a really prime value.
Totally. And it still has like all of the bells and whistles in terms of thermal lined, liquid sealed, taped and liquid sealed, So still premium in all those ways, and only $200 basically is the bottom line. So 195 for this 3-2 full suit that I've got right here. So Colby is spelled Colby. Colbyplus.com is where you get the white label. And also, realwatersports.com is just kicking off their slash and burn sale.
Slash and burn. That's pretty 80s. I saw that came in my inbox and I was like, wow. All right, slash and burn. I don't know what the savings are. I actually went to the site to check it out. You can get a Christensen, um, what's the model? There was like I forget the model, but it
Cafe
looks,
Racer.
yes, the Cafe Racer. Did you see that one on the site?
I'm
The
looking
Cafe
at it right now.
Racer looked very sexy. I've always loved Chris's boards. There's something about the wide point, or Chris has got just beautiful outline plan shapes. So I saw that Cafe Racer and I was like, yeah, that's what I need. Another surfboard in my quiver. But I tell you what,
Mhm.
there's always room for another Christensen.
Absolutely. This is a great time to there's up to $900 off of surfboards, new surfboards. Some of them are 200 bucks off, but there's up to $900. And then they also have a used gear section. So just peruse, shop around. You can find fins, boards, all sorts of stuff at crazy discounts. This is their biggest sale of the year, the slash and burn sale at realwatersports.com.
As we see some movement at the takeoff zone, it's Kelly Slater
Yeah,
grabbing the
guy.
rail.
Yeah, guy. Welcome to the show. It's Spit. It's a Spit podcast. It's August 6th. It's Wednesday, August 6th. This is the show where David and Scott talk about all things surf and some other things as well. David, good morning to you.
Good morning, Scott. I would just like to state I am looking forward to spending 1 week in Peru with 20 of our friends.
I know. I've got to admit, I'm kind of psyching. I have two boards. I've got a brand new that I need to pick up tomorrow, a DK Swordfish, DK Surfboard Swordfish. It's a quad, 6'6", 2 5/8. You and I've got a Greg Weber Electra coming too.
Oh,
I don't know when that's going to get here. I'm only bringing,
hopefully in time.
well, I'm only bringing one board, so we'll see. I mean, I
I'm
want to
looking
have
at
to find them, right, and figure it out.
Yeah, I'm looking at the swordfish right now, the gold standard in performance fish design. With a sleek, thinned out fish foil and modern performance bottom contours, it planes and drives off the front foot like that of a wider fish, but it's a quad fin setup.
Yeah, it's a quad, and I've had one before, and I loved it. It was one of my favorite boards, and I'm talking like 15 years ago. I'm
Mm.
kind of searching my Instagram right now. I have a picture of me with Hank, my son, when he's like, 8 years old, and we're looking at the board. But anyway, it's a proven surfboard design, which is why when I ran into DK, I was like, make me a swordfish, because I saw one on his on his Instagram recently. It was like a 7.2, and I'm like, just trim it down. Let's make a 6.6 swordfish. It'll be perfect. And so yeah, I'm kind of fired up.
Yeah, that looks actually really killer. I've never had anything like that. Also on his website, right at the top banner, he states 1 month turnaround on custom orders. I love that.
Yeah, DK is an incredible shaper. He's the Pizelle shaper here in Oceanside. He makes all the Pizelles.
Yeah,
And I'm trying to pull up. Let's see. I might be able. Oh yeah. Okay. Are you ready to watch something here?
sure.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I could see it.
there's-
So
So
is that
that's
yours?
yeah, that's mine.
Whoa, crazy acid splash colored resin job on there.
Sorry, the light's shining on it.
I
Can't
like
really.
it. Did
Yeah,
you order it? Did you order the specific artwork or just said go nuts?
just go nuts. I never
Me
order
too.
artwork.
That's what I always do.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah,
Make
me
it
too.
orange.
Have you ever been disappointed or bit in the butt by that?
No, no, I'm not artistically driven, as you can tell
Okay.
by look at my color scheme today. I've got pink, all and brown with some gold, you know. Dorm room
Does
floor,
your
whatever on the floor, I just grab it and put it on.
does your wife lay out your clothes for you?
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. However, getting out the door to go to dinner how many times I put on an entire outfit and she's like, nope, 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 nope. You're not wearing sweatpants to dinner. Sorry. And
Good.
there's a whole
That's what we
rigmarole.
need. We need an accountability partner in our life like that. That's perfect. But what I was referring to with Peru specifically is just the people that come on these trips are the best. And so we have a couple of people on this one who were on our very first El Salvador trip who then signed up for a second go around, this time in Peru. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to reconnecting with those guys, but also we have the entire resort to ourselves. So this is not a sales pitch because this is already sold out, but just an acknowledgement that we have the whole resort to ourselves with 20 of our friends, basically, or who will be friends in quick,
Yeah.
short order. Um, and that's kind of awesome. 3 meals a day, surfing all day with them. It's kind of epic.
I'm good for like one surf session a day. You know what I mean? Like the days of like, I know there's going to be guys that are frothing and God bless them, but I'm going to be like one session a day and then a nap and hopefully doing some work with using the Wi-Fi because I'm going to be busy.
I know you are leading straight into the boardroom show. So
Hey, speaking of guys, our friend Rick, Mike, and Alex, those three guys are coming. They were on the first trip, the El Salvador trip over a year ago.
Daryl too.
Oh yeah, Daryl. Cool.
Daryl was there with his daughter, Erin, last time. Erin isn't coming on this trip, but Daryl's coming.
Daryl's been frothing on learning how to foil, so maybe he'll get involved in that. I don't know.
Yeah. And Daryl also, I think, booked or staying like an extra 5 days or something to do some sightseeing around Lima and Machu Picchu and stuff like that. So
Good
good
for
on him.
him.
Enjoying retirement.
Yeah, he's a retired doctor. I'm stoked for him to do that. That's a smart thing. I mean, you're down there, you might as well,
Yeah.
although I won't be, but I would like to.
Well, you got to get back to the boardroom show.
Dude, the boardroom show. Oh my God. So let me tell you.
Oh, by the way, we should just at least reference Waterways Travel is the one who set all of this up for us, did all the heavy lifting basically. So thank you, Waterways Travel. And even though you can't come with us on this trip, book through them to get to where we're going at Chicama.
Good point. Yes. Thank you to Chris and Brian at Waterways. They make it so easy to
Brian's
do.
coming with us too.
I saw that. I saw Brian's name on there. That's so cool.
I
I'm
know
so
Brian, midway through this planning process, he's like, dude, I'm coming. Forget it. I'm sick of you guys talking about it. I want to go.
good for him. I'm
Yeah.
stoked to see that. Yeah, so that's going to be fun. The boardroom show, I wanted to tell you, I spoke with Eric Arakawa last week. So here are the shapers that are going to be competing in the Icons of Foam Shape Off presented by US Blanks. Adam Warden has been added. AJW Surfboards. Adam Warden, Alan White from the East Coast, the East Coast winner. Barry Vandermeulen. Do you know Barry?
I not personally.
But you know who he is.
I know of him, yeah.
Yeah, I've
He
never
had a
met him.
shop in Huntington Beach, right?
I believe so. South African
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Dan Mann, who makes Kelly's boards for Firewire and others. Rodolfo Klima. Rodolfo, I believe from Peru or maybe Chile. Peru, maybe. Chile?
Yeah, I think so.
Peru. I don't know. I should know that.
I want to say Peru. I can look it up.
Todd Proctor, Proctor Surfboards, and Richie Collins. So we need one more, and Eric's working on that now. But how about that list? Richie Collins, if you know anything about Richie Collins, and you do because you've interviewed him, he's the most competitive guy, one of them that I know. He's super competitive. Todd Proctor, incredible shaper. Rodolfo, apparently a really great shaper. We know Dan Mann's a great shaper, but Barry, Alan, this is going to be very exciting shape off, in my opinion. I don't see any guys on here because sometimes we get guys and you're like, okay, that's cool. I don't think he's going to really make the cut, but that's cool that we got him in there, you know? These
Totally.
guys are all pretty dialed in. So it should be interesting. And then one more that, like I said, I'll announce that when we get that name.
Well, not only a great list, but also variation on names that we've seen in the past. So kind of a new batch of shapers.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah.
Me too. By the way, Rodolfo Klima, we did look this up in the past, but Climax Surf is the name of his label. It is in Peru, but he has the license down there for Paizel, Sharp Eye, and Chili surfboards. So he's making a lot of high performance short boards. And maybe Eric has worked with him in the past, and that's why Eric knows him and referenced him, but very qualified.
Yeah, he's well known down there within the surfboard building community. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. It'll be interesting, you know.
So what are
We
the
do
dates?
it's October 11th and 12th, and we do have a VIP exclusive VIP intimate dinner with Eric Arakawa. That I think there's 4 tickets left of the 8. By the way, I don't even have the tickets on sale yet, so I'm a little hesitant. Just know that as soon as those goes on sale, those things sell out. If you're super frothy and you want to get one, just send me an email. I'll just put you on there.
Well done. Those
Yeah,
things have become the hot commodity.
they are. You get one of the first 8 shaped boards, the shaped blank. You get that. You're responsible for glassing it, but you get one of those, and of course you get this great intimate 3-course meal, which will be cool. And it's always super fun, and you'll be able to pick Eric's brain and get stories from him. Of course, you know Eric's got stories about Ronnie Burns, Michael Ho, Derek Ho. You know he's right in the thick of things. Jack Robinson, of course, he made Andy Irons's boards for pipe. And for waves of consequence, Eric has a great line. He's like, I make high performance boards for high performance waves. And that's what he does. So
Yeah, and he is the most kind of humble and just thoughtful, well-spoken, nicest dude ever. Despite having a lot of accolades and laurels he could rest on, he doesn't like even like reference any of that or want any of that. It's like I've met with him a handful of times and interviewed him and stuff, and it's like you kind of when you meet him, you're almost like a little bit enamored by him, and he puts all of that to rest really quickly. He's just as, salt of the earth and nice and normal as could possibly be.
absolutely. I would use the word humility. He has a real like
Yes.
faith humility about him, which is wonderful, which is something that I would certainly strive for. God knows, excuse my French. I might need some humility.
He
David, can you
disarms you. You know, it's like you come in with a certain amount of reverence for him and he disarms that immediately and is just like a regular dude.
Just disarming, just, put your arms down here. I surrender. Put my arms in. Humility. Give me a definition quickly.
Humility is I don't know, the opposite of of ego.
That's funny. You had to go to the opposite to define it.
I mean, that's the easiest way to define it, I would
Well, it's
say.
not it's actually a difficult word to define. Not very many, how about this one? Humility, the ability to be in a teachable state.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I'm gonna look it up actually. Humility definition. A modest or low view of one's own importance.
I heard another one. Humility is when you realize that you're neither the superhero of your fantasies nor the dwarf of your fears.
Hmm. I
Boom.
like it. Yeah, I like it. Well, anyways,
Yeah, I've got some stuff for you. I've got a who said that if you want to try to get stumped. And of course, Chopu is in our face.
going
It's
berserk.
going berserk.
Yesterday was a tow day. Tomorrow's the start of the waiting period. We're nestled snugly right in between.
Oh my. Are you ready for
Hey,
who said that? This
I'm
portion of the
ready.
show, attempt to stump David Lee Scales by quoting a famous surf character, and David then gets to guess which one it is out of the four that I will present to you and to the listeners. Who said that, David? And I quote, then surfers began showing up in the late 50s, and the cowboys who were running cattle didn't care. It was insignificant, like 2 or 3 surfers a year. It wasn't an impact at all until some guys started vandalizing. I'm not going to tell you who it was, but they started vandalizing the railroad shacks. There was a shack at Drake's and another at San Augustine. And Clinton Hollister saw that and he said, these surfers, I don't think we want them on the ranch. End quote. Who said that, David? Was it 1, John Bradbury, 2, Dale Velzy, 3, George Greeno, or 4, Renny Yater?
Tough one. I'm going to throw Velzy out immediately. Bradbury, you looked at me for a reaction when you said his name, which I think is interesting. Um, Greeno seems like the obvious choice. Yater seems like a red herring. I'm going Greeno.
You're wrong, David. You are wrong. But it makes sense that Greeno could have been the guy. But it was Renny Yater. Renny Yater was was the first guy to surf the ranch. They let him in. He was buddies with Clinton Hollister. And I bring that up because we have 2 different Yater ranch boards from the early 70s in the upcoming California Gold Surf Auction, and they're mint, they're pristine, they're beautiful Yaters from that wonderful era of surfing in the early 70s. And yeah, pretty excited about those boards and that I stumped you, you know.
You should be. Very exciting. Um,
That didn't sound very authentic. That sounded like moving on.
no. You should be impressed. But I also love ranch stories.
Have
Tell
you
me
ever
more
surfed?
about yeah, I've surfed it and I've gotten invited a number of times to surf from listeners, and a lot of those haven't panned out, but I have surfed it. Some of them have panned out as well. But yeah, I love any ranch stories from anybody who spent time up there.
Cool. Yeah. Well, um,
Have you surfed it?
I have not. I've never been there. Seems like a bucket list type of situation.
I would say so. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm getting
Okay.
old. I don't
Well,
know if I'll ever get there, you know. I mean, but I said that about Chicama. And look at me. Here we go.
There's still time.
Well, what's next, David?
Intentionally being vague and uh short of words on the ranch, by the way. What's next is massive chopu. One of the coolest moments from yesterday that I saw was Aileen Vaast getting whipped in by her brother Kaiuli. I forgot. I have seen her around a couple of times, but I kind of forgot. She gets overshadowed by Kaiuli, but Kaiuli was on the ski and whipped in his younger sister Aileen into an insane wave, a wave that would have made headlines 5 years ago, but now feels commonplace. So that was a super cool brother sister moment. But any thoughts on the big day yesterday and what it means for how this event plays out for us?
Well, I mean, the entire surfing industrial complex is focused on tomorrow at Chopu, and at least that's the vibe I'm getting. And it's because the swell forecast is incredible for tomorrow. It's coming down. I'll tell you what, I'll read. Here we go. Here's what Surfline has to say about tomorrow, which is opening day for the Lexus Tahiti Pro. After 2 days of pumping toe-size swell, the south-southwest swell will be very gradually backing down through the day. Surf remains solid on opening day of the event with 3 times overhead, 12 to 15 foot faces through the morning, and then comes down to 8 to 12 through the afternoon. The typical trade wind day is setting up. It's going to be wonderfully light offshore, a land breeze, and it could build and fill in a little bit in the afternoon, that wind. So opening day, David, my feeling is, holy mackerel, it's going to be pretty incredible. You look at the men's heats. The first thing I do is I look for Filipe's heat. I'm like, where's Filipe Toledo's heat? And he's in heat 7. He surfs against Leonardo Fioravante and Zhao Chianca. Um, does Filipe get through this heat?
No, absolutely not. And what's interesting, I always look at the lead up social media to the event because Griffin Colapinto's dropping bangers, like he got an insane wave, he had a crazy wipeout, broke his board. So I see that, and that's almost like a hype reel, like
Yeah.
trying to intimidate basically your other opponents. And Filipe not only is nowhere to be seen, but 2 days ago he posted a photo doing a snap at Chopu
What?
on a shoulder high wave doing a snap. And I'm like, well, nobody's afraid of that. And then yesterday, while everybody else is posting these toe in bombs, he posted a cologne ad.
Oh,
So I'm
man.
like, bro, that is not how you play the game at all. So no, I do not think Filipe makes it out of that heat. And I think actually, Joao Chianca is proven in big waves like that. Like he is an actual dark horse threat. And then Leonardo Fioravanti has a potential finals 5 berth on the line. So I think he goes hard in this event too.
Yeah, it's funny when you look at the draw. This is one event where I go, you could pick 10 guys and go, I could see him winning, I could see him winning.
It's
Like
hard to pick.
it really is hard to pick. I picked this morning my team and I was like, whoa. I mean, here, like me, Himana Bray is a local Tahitian. I don't know. He probably could win it, especially if it's 12 feet the entire event. He knows the spot. He knows he's somehow found his way into the event. That means he knows how to do it. He knows all the lineups. He knows the swell angles. He knows which one to take. He's probably, I mean, he obviously charges, but that's not who. I mean, what are your thoughts on him? I mean, how many heats does he get through? I guess is the question.
So he won the trials event. And I've seen him out there in the past. He's, right up there with almost anybody. Um, I think he makes it far. So what I did, because I had such a hard time picking, I was like, let me figure out who's the logical pick, who's the dark horse pick, I had a hard time figuring that out. So what I did was go through each individual heat and pick who I thought would win that heat. So in heat number 1, I picked Miguel Pupo. You know, Seth Moniz totally qualified, but having not a great year. Italo, obviously totally qualified, but Miguel Pupo's won out here before. In fact, I think the last time Miguel surfed in this event, he won it, which was 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea that blows me away. I would have picked Idolo here. Okay, what
So
about you?
you pick Italo here. I'll go with Miguel, and we'll take notes tomorrow.
Okay.
Heat number two, Kanoa, Jake, and Kaiuli Vaast. Kaiuli Vaast all the way in that one for me.
Yeah, he's the strong one there. Okay, Heat 3.
Heat three, Mia Montebre.
I like that because Crosby is unknown out there, and Jordy, you know, backs
Crosby
up.
char Crosby charges, but I haven't really seen him at Chopu before.
The right now the picks have Jordy at 52% and Mia Mana at 34%.
Okay. Next heat, Yago Dora.
Yaga over Joel Vaughn and Tearoa, who's also a local guy.
Next heat,
I have
I
Yaga.
pick Cole Houshman in Heat 5.
That's a good pick. Makes sense.
Ethan Ewing's an amazing surfer, but Cole Houshman feels better, like a better fit at Chopu.
How many times has Cole Houshman surfed out there?
I don't
This
know.
is a place where you need to have experience. You cannot paddle out there, especially with just 3 dudes in the lineup. It's one thing if there's 15 dudes and there's some guys and you're kind of following, you're following Kalui Vost around. But if you don't know the lineup, I mean, it's not rocket science because it's such a short little zone, but you got a Westy one coming in and, you know, anyway, I think Ethan's got more experience out there, but okay, that's a tough one. Okay, what about Heat 6? Griffin, Connor, or Alan Cleland?
Um, Unbelievable heat. This could be a final right here, but I'm going Connor O'Leary.
I've got Alan Cleland. I've taken Alan Cleland in this heat. Yes. Connor O'Leary. Okay. They have the results right now are 54% think Griffin's going to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Heat
I think
7.
Griffin's the obvious pick in that one, but
Heat 7, Filipe Toledo, Leonardo Fioravanti, Giao Chianca.
I'm going Leonardo Fioravanti. Hey, can you hold on 1 second?
Sure.
Hey, I'm recording a podcast. Do you need anything? All right. Sorry.
Who was that?
Lauren.
Good man. Picking up your wife's calls.
Just got to make sure there's no emergency.
The next heat is the final heat. Jack Robinson, Baron Mamiya, Marco Mignot.
So I don't think Marco's a threat in this one, and Jack is the obvious pick, but I'm going Baron.
I went Baron too, and Jack Robinson has 67% of the vote here, but I actually think I have Baron as my doubled up hijack, doubled up surfer in fantasy.
I think it's a good pick. I think Baron's had a really tough year. He's obviously gotten injured. I think it was at Trestles. But I think that he needs a big result. And these are the exact type of waves, especially with the swell that's on tap, that suit him well. And certainly Jack Robinson does also. But I think Barron, just from a kind of fire in his belly kind of a situation, I think he'll outperform.
What's the status on his injury? Do you know? Is he 100%?
I should have asked. I was texting with Britt Merrick yesterday and I should have asked, but I neglected to.
Yeah.
But I'm actually so talking about obvious picks versus our picks. Obvious pick for me in this event is Kaiuli Vost,
Yeah.
especially with the swell. But my
Yeah.
personal pick, I'm kind of torn between I'm going Miguel Pupo or Baron Mamiya. I think Baron Mamiya, for some reason, is going to have like an outstanding performance in this.
I love this. As we mentioned earlier, this is one where you can pick dark horses and feel good about it. And I think my dark horses are Alan Cleland and I've got Baron. And you mentioned Leonardo. I wouldn't be surprised if Leonardo's in the final.
Me neither. And it's really, there's opportunities for people to really catapult up the rankings here. And so
Yeah.
Barron's in ninth, Jack Robinson's in ninth, or Leonardo's in 10th. So a win for any of those guys could really put him in a position here. Interestingly, Connor O'Leary didn't seem to be a threat, but won the last event at J Bay. And so I mean, another win here, he's mathematically in contention.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny when you look at the top five, you think to yourself, okay, who could not do well here? You know, who could have a shocker? And number
Jordy.
three, Kanoa and Jordy. Jordy and Kanoa could both lose out. Is there an elimination round? There probably is.
So the way this one works, yes, there is an elimination round. It's round two. There's a three-man heat up front. The winner of that leapfrogs a round, and the bottom
Right.
two go into the elimination round.
Okay. So the elimination round's interesting because what could happen is somebody like Kanoa or whoever goes into the elimination round and they decide to run the event when it's 3 to 4 feet, which God forbid they should not do that. Because what I think is going to happen is they're going to run the men's, they're going to hold off, run the women's when it's 6 to 8 feet on Friday. And then what they need to do is hold off until the 12th, which I think is Tuesday. And
They
then
can run the men and the women tomorrow, in theory.
oh, that would be insane. What if they put the women out first?
Yeah, because it's shorter post cut. They can run both men and women in one day.
That would be insane.
I agree. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, what I'm thrilled about for this event is just having waves, like a steady stream of waves in a heat. Yeah, it's great that they're 8 to 10 feet, but the problem here is when it becomes only, two waves in a heat that are really 8 or 10 point rides and the rest are kind of sixes. But with this type of swell, you're going to get plenty of opportunities for everybody. So it's really just a matter of bravado at that point, navigating the tube.
Uh, do you think, I guess I want to throw out the caveat that it would warm my heart if Filipe Toledo had a really great first round heat in macking waves and won his heat. And would that kind of put this to rest?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be
You
good.
want to you want to make a wager on whether that happens?
Sure. I'm going to get some odds, right? This is going to be like, if Filipe advances, you give me $10. And if Filipe doesn't advance, doesn't win, this is round one. If he doesn't win, I give you $2.
Sure. I'll take it.
Seems like fair, right? You're very confident that he will not win this heat.
Well, I'm confident $10 isn't that risky, so I'll take it just for the sake of
You want me to give you my Venmo now?
I know your Venmo.
Uh, well, okay, that'll be interesting. Now I'm rooting for Filipe in that heat, even though I have Giacianco on my fantasy team.
What can I buy with $2, by the way?
Oh my God. Some sort of like meme coin, some sort of like maybe the Donald Trump stable coin or unstable coin. I don't know.
I love it. Okay, so with that $2, I will make an investment into some sort of a coin, um, into crypto because I can't afford a cup of coffee for $2 at this point in our world. So $2 goes into an investment, and then I'll let you know how that investment pans out.
Do like some crazy crypto coin because there's some
Yeah,
that you can get for like 2 cents, and you can
Doge,
some
the
one of
Doge coin. And then
well,
and then we'll check in a year from now, and that $2 may have turned into 100.
you could be laughing.
And then I'll be thanking Filipe in that scenario. On the women's side, I think it's a pretty overwhelming consensus that Vahini Fierro is going to be the big pick for this style of
I
swell
have her,
forecast.
I have her as my doubled up surfer to win the event.
Like we know Caroline Marks charges, we know Molly Picklum charges, but there's a difference between charging and actually kind of holding court out there. And
Yeah,
Vahini has proven that she is not only comfortable, but like knows how to navigate the barrel.
yeah, yeah.
And interestingly, I mean, while it is a perfect wave in a lot of ways, even that wave we saw Matahi Drole surf last week that played in the Mussy Moment, there's a lot of technical work going on. It's like the drop is super technical, the navigating of the barrel is super technical. When it bends on the West Bowl, you got to take the low or the high road actually to end up on the low road or the
Yeah,
low
that's weird.
road.
I feel like you're pointing down all the time. Like you don't want a high road because the high road just happens. You're on the high road no matter what. You're just trying to get off of the high road.
Exactly. So yeah, you're down at the bottom, pointing at the beach basically to make that West Bowl. So all of those things you don't want to be having to figure out in real time, but Fahini obviously has spent more time out there than anybody. So I like her for a win. But also, by the way, that local young 12-year-old girl, Kalia Galina, also looks insane out there. So she could be a threat too.
Wow. Well, I just feel like she's got a lot going against her, like her age versus Lakey Peterson and Molly Picklum. Like that's who she's surfing against in round one. Man, that's going to be tough. But maybe she gets through the elimination round. I don't know. I've never seen her surf. I'm not saying she can't do it. I'm just saying those are some tough veterans she's going up against. So we'll see. Uh, Let me ask you this. Erin Brooks, is she a finalist?
No,
Betty Lou Sakura Johnson.
I think she makes quarterfinals.
Gabriella Bryan,
No,
not in the finals.
no.
So it sounds like you got Vahini and Carolyn Marks in the final.
I could go
What about Kate?
Molly Picklum and Kalia Galina would be the other two in that conversation.
Really? Kalia Galina in the final.
Potentially, yeah.
Wow.
This is an event that wild cards win constantly. Not constantly, but
I agree, but
historically.
I mean, she's 12 years old. Like that's
That'd be amazing. Youngest surfer ever in a CT event, by the way.
I hope
Or
so.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah, youngest trials winner for sure. And I think youngest surfer ever in a CT event.
12-year-old.
Yeah.
Almost seems, I don't know.
What?
Seems
Unfair?
no, like Child Protective Services or something. I don't know. It seems like
Well,
there
she's
should be
earned,
law against it.
I think she's more comfortable and qualified than a lot of the CT surfers out there just based on the amount of time that she spent. And then she earned her way to it by winning the trials. So it wasn't like a wild card gift, or a
Well, good for
sponsor
her.
wild card.
I haven't seen her in action. I'm gonna go on her Instagram and take a peek at what she's doing out there. I bet it's gonna blow my mind. By
Well,
the way, yesterday, did you see this crazy? Go ahead. You were gonna talk
no,
more.
you go.
There was this crazy paddling wave yesterday. It was posted on Jake Patterson's Snaketales Instagram account. I'm sure you probably saw it. It was Eimeo Zermatt, and Jake's calling it the gnarliest, biggest paddling wave ever. And I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. I don't, everybody in the channel was just freaking out. And what's cool about it is there's actually a tow team that is towing into the wave and they see him paddling for it and they pull out. And then he's in the gnarly bowl section and just makes this crazy drop straight into a frothy one. And man, the spit is just, I don't know how you even survive that spit. Like
That's a great point.
it's I guess it's to your benefit when it spits that hard. It just pushes you out. But you don't see a whole lot of people falling off from the spit, like jumping off in front, out in front of their board. Like they all seem to manage it for some reason. I don't know.
That's a great point. But yeah, I don't know either. The sheer force of it is what you're saying should be able to knock you off. Yeah, it's wild. That's a crazy wave and a crazy drop. By the way, Eimeo, in case you don't remember, broke his back at Pipeline not that long ago. So he is right back on the horse, which is kind of crazy.
Well, I went to his Instagram account thinking,
Here's
oh,
here's
here we
that
go.
wave if you want to watch
Yeah.
it. So yeah, the tow team kicks out and he's right under the ledge. Just knifes in. Man.
I mean, look at that spit.
And standing tall too. It's not like he was grabbing rail.
And look at that West
Wild
Bowl.
ride.
Wonder what happened at the end there. Jake says in the thing, he goes, oh, and he made it too. Like Jake somehow confirmed.
Discounted him.
Well, no, confirmed that he made the West Bowl somehow, or he must have
Oh,
straightened. I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
I went to
Yeah.
Emeo's Instagram account, and this wasn't posted on there. There was something that was equally mind blowing from May that he's calling like the best wave of his life. So he's just this year, he's gotten two of the best waves of his life, probably more.
And he's not even in the event.
No.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we're moving on from Tahiti or not, but I did want to acknowledge your local boy, Levi Slawson, won the US Open on Sunday.
You know what? Good point. Hold on for a second while I
Okay.
pee. I saw David sends out a spreadsheet to everybody on these trips that we do, and one of the columns is favorite sayings from the Spit podcast. And Alex, my friend Alex, wrote, "I like it when Scott says, 'Hold on, David, I've got to pee.'" That was thank you, Alex. Welcome back to the Spit podcast,
Thank you. Welcome back to you. So yeah, local boy, Levi
Levi.
Slawson.
Yeah, so great. I remember Levi. So back like 20 years ago, Levi and his family were members of the Swami Surfing Club, and we would go up the coast to Malibu and to these places and have these longboard contests. And back then, I was involved, and my son Hank was involved, and there was a full group of Groms like Caleb Crozier and Micah Crozier and Levi and his brother, I believe it's Noah. They would go up there. Levi's dad's a really great guy. I can't remember his father's name, but anyway, I remember Noah when he was like 5 years old, surfing in the friggin' Malibu longboard contest. And here he is, just in world class. Um, I mean, the entire community here in Encinitas is so excited for Levi, and we've watched his path. We've watched this kid do it, and man, to win the U.S. Open, that is huge, especially from a Challenger Series perspective. I'm sure I don't know where he is in the rankings, but frankly, Levi Slawson would be an incredible addition to the World Championship Tour, and I mean, I say that without any bias. This guy's an incredible surfer, um, power packed. He would bring a lot of sort of like Jack Robinson, Alan Cleland power to the tour, and I'm super stoked. And I think I can speak for the entire community here, the entire crew down at Seaside. Everybody's amped for Levi.
So he jumped 44 positions on the Challenger Series up to fourth position currently. So that was the third Challenger Series event. There's 7 total, so 4 more to go. They go to Ericeira, they go to Saquarema, they go to the Pipe Challenger event, and then they end in at the Newcastle Surf Fest. So he's got a ways to go, but sitting in fourth has got to feel pretty good.
When is the pipe event?
I don't know. It doesn't show the
It must be
date.
it must be that January permit that they have.
Yeah.
The season kicks off in April. So the Challenger Series must end obviously before then. And boom, Levi could be at Bell's Beach April 1st.
Can you imagine?
How great would that be? That would be
What a,
so killer.
what a year. Yeah, it's the January. It doesn't show January 28th through February 8th,
Yeah,
the
I think
Pipe
that's
Challenger Series.
no pro permit. So that's cool. That's a challenge. That's so how cool is that there's a Challenger Series of pipe?
Yeah,
That's
I know.
incredible.
The exact opposite of Huntington Beach. Um, and he won over Mateus Herdy. So Mateus Herdy is somebody he's like a darling of Stab magazine. They love him, and rightfully so. Like he's an
Yeah.
incredible surfer, super stylish, really well rounded. So I'm a big fan as well. And thanks to Stab for showing us, Mateus regularly. But he was on Quicksilver probably for a decade or so, quite a long time, and then got dropped due to not his own surfing ability nor his exposure because his stock has just been going up steadily. But he got dropped about a year ago, so he's been surfing sponsorless and doing incredibly well. Just I don't know how he's making ends meet traveling around the world without a sponsor. But leading into this event, he got picked up by Julian Wilson's company, Rivvia. And Rivvia, I mean, literally a day before the event, did the deal. Then Mateus goes and makes the final. So I think that was a pretty incredible little storyline for him.
That was and I did notice that because there was some information on Instagram about it. I saw it and I agree. When I saw him in the final, I'm like, wow, talk about a return on investment. This is
Mhm.
incredible. And it was an interesting heat. I mean, these kids, especially Mateus, he must have caught 15 or 17 waves or something. It was one of these things where Mateus really just needed a massive air because that's really all that was on offer out there to get a big score. A 7.77, I think he needed to advance, and he actually got that big air at the end, and it seemed like all the air had been sucked out of the room, and all the energy was on the Brazilian camp and the Rivvia camp, and he didn't get the score. And
He
I
was
don't.
on the beach waiting for the scores to be called out. And he got a couple of the judges gave it to him actually. So it was a split decision, but ultimately he came in, uh, 0.10 below, like a tenth below.
And I think it was well judged.
I think so
I
too.
watched it, and the problem, as you know, David, was that his landing was a little bit, it wasn't super sticky. There was some wobble in it, and tip the cap to the announcer guy. I forget his name, but he really pinpointed it and said, if you look at the landing of Mateus versus the landing of Levi's wave, and Levi's was flawless. There was no, and
Yeah.
that's the difference these days.
Yeah. I do want to state that watching the event is a little bit difficult. They start with a round of 80 for the men,
Yeah.
80. And ultimately, the waves don't provide two scoring opportunities for 80 surfers. So, you get these heats where you see literally Julian Wilson, who is qualified to smoke the field, if there are waves, but you see him groveling on shin high waves trying to make something out of nothing. And it's not, that's just one example, but I would argue 60 of those 80 who are in the same predicament where it's like they could win if they just got the waves. And so it feels very frustrating to see these guys travel from around the world with all the expense involved to just go and then lose based on lack of the ocean providing, which I know it's part of surf contests. And I know this isn't CT events should provide opportunities and all that, or at least be at a venue that allows for the surfers to get the waves that they need to, is a different conversation, but still it's frustrating.
Yeah, it is. And it's funny, you know, early days you weren't probably even born yet. I don't know, but when the OP Pro first came to town, it was such a big deal for us, for all of us young surfers in Southern California. And I mean, they groveled in, Shane Horan and Tom Curran, and it was just a grovel fest. And it was super exciting because it was fresh and new and we didn't care. I mean, it was as small as it can get. And they were like riding ankle biters onto the shore. But that's lost its luster. That it's gone. Like we need the waves of the stars. I've been saying it for decades.
Especially when you know what these servers can do and they're taking 2 weeks to come do this. It's kind of like it's a waste of their time.
I mean, when Huntington's 6 to 8 feet south swell and they have the US Open, it's pretty exciting because there's like two big left-hand turn opportunities. There's like one bank and one closeout at the pier. And because it's so powerful and big, it can be kind of exciting. But I mean, the US Open at Huntington Beach, look, nothing's going to change. It's going to be there. But the US Open feels like it would be better served at a better wave. But it's beyond,
Um,
not, it's more than the surf contest. That's the thing. It's not
that's
really.
true. It's totally true. So the reason why those big south swells are exciting for me is I've surfed out there 1,000 times, and on days like that, I remember I couldn't even make the paddle out for a lot of my life. Like it was that much current moving. You get swept through the pier, swept down the beach, whatever, and it's like and then a set wave comes and you're just trying to dodge the thing. So when that happens during the event and you see Kelly Slater go right and get barreled and come out, you're like, what? How did that? I've tried, like, that was never even out there in my awareness. And then you see Andy Irons doing that crazy floater, and bashing it, like you said, 2 or 3 times and then doing a massive floater. It's like, oh, okay. I guess there are opportunities out there. To me, it was just closeouts and you get swept down the beach. You don't even get a wave on days like that. So that's what's impressive.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember I was in the finals once at an NSSA event at Huntington Pier, and it was a wintertime event, and so it wasn't South Swell, it was big North Swell. And by the finals, I was absolutely wrecked. Like just
Oh, yeah.
getting out, paddling out, I was wrecked. And yeah, I remember. I think Chaz Wickwire won that one. But anyway,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, moving on from the US Open, I have a listener email that came through entitled Shaper Eulogy that I wanted to read for you.
Okay, let's hear that.
It says, Dear DLS and Scott, I figured I'd write a brief eulogy to share with you since you have such respect for surfboard shapers. Hamish Graham passed away in May of this year. Hamish shaped his own label boards, as well as being one of the few elite shapers licensed to make rip curl boards during the Surge era. He was also a protege of Alan Byrne, shaping for hot stuff back in Australia, then burning spears in the US. He was a master of the 6 deep channel bottom board. Notable riders of his boards span decades and include the Hot Stuff crew, Rabbit, Elkerton, the Search crew, Curran, and I believe Brett Simpson won at least one US Open riding Hamish's boards. There's also countless underground chargers around the world. I first met him as a Grom in the mid 80s in Goleta at Bob Hawkinson's glass factory. I'd ride my bike there occasionally to swipe fiberglass and foam out of the dumpsters to fix dings, to look at boards being made, and to catch a rare glimpse of Tom Curran picking up boards, a shop Grom. Hamish had a little shaping room there at the time. I stuck my head in and saw this dude with an accent cutting deep grooves in the tail of a board and putting concave in the front. Crazy. What the heck is this? He was kind enough to describe what he was doing and the positive attributes of these kinds of boards. This started a conversation about boards that lasted 40 years. He was always available for the discussion and refinements. I had a bit of a Sherpa in my early surfing life who taught me that every good surfer should have a good shaper. I just happened to have a world-class shaper in my backyard, and he would become mine. My very first board order was a mind-blowing experience. Hamish asked me what I wanted, and I told him I was transitioning from twin fins to thrusters, so I didn't know my dims. I was starting from scratch, and I was still growing. Hamish asked a ton of questions, then dropped a blank on the floor. Stand on it, he ordered. I gave him a quizzical look. You can do that? I stood on the blank. He told me to get in my stance, then took a pencil and drew an outline of the board right on the blank, freehand. He then cut the outline. He then cut the outline out with a handsaw and stuck it under my arm. How's that feel? It felt good, even before it was planed down to proper thickness. Incredibly, upon checking his measurements after the initial freehand outline, it was spot on, symmetrical over the entire length, an impossible feat. The last bit of magic was tuning the fins. All glass-ons in those days, he sanded and reshaped a set of fins to suit my size and weight at the time. The result? I went from a beginner to intermediate immediately on that board and even got fourth in the local contest. There had been a number of occasions over the years when someone would want to look at one of my boards, especially a channel bottom, and they would relay their own story of Hamish or a magic board that they got from him. The strangest thing was that story of him drawing a perfectly symmetrical outline freehand. I had heard many times from others who had that same experience. Reminds me of the Renaissance artist Giotto, who could famously draw a perfect circle, a mark of a true master. He will be missed. Eric Watts, Santa Barbara, California.
Yeah, that's really great. And he will be missed. Hamish, what an incredible board builder craftsman that guy was. And as was it Eric Watts?
Eric Watts, Santa Barbara.
What Eric said about the one of the biggest thing that struck me was Hamish was a nice man, like as a grom poking your head in, there can be some salty characters that are like, get the hell out of here. I'm busy. I actually, anyway, different. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but Hamish was like, "Hey, cool kid, come on, let me show you what I'm doing here." That is so sweet and so heartwarming. And Hamish was beloved, and the guys, the people that know the us, you and me, and the people in the community that knew that Hamish was the real deal. And I sold once in the California Gold Surf auction one of Hamish's 6-channel single fin rip curls for Tom Curran. It was friggin' so beautiful and sexy and sleek and just, it was a kind of board you looked at it and you just went, man, I can just see Tom Curran just doing one of his most beautiful bottom turns ever at, wherever, Bawa or whatever. And just, it was beautiful board. And yes, it was like that board right there. That's what it was like. It was one of those boards. We
Yeah,
sold it.
I just pulled up the shot, this super famous shot. I want to say it was 1994 at Backdoor. Does that sound about right?
Yes, that's
It was
might be the board. It was just an insane board.
it was
So
Curran that got this super girthy backdoor wave, and he just like styles through it. But then when he comes out, he does that little dainty cutback where he tips his uh kind of connects his knees together so that they're like touching and just like puts his hands out like jazz hands and does a little cutback carve at the end.
yeah,
It made a bunch of cover shots. It was, it was in every surf video in that year. But yeah, that was a Hamish that he was writing. And I think Sam George wrote an article about it on Surfline a long time ago about the board being borrowed. Like he borrowed that board from somebody, put his search stickers on it, paddled out a back door, and got the wave of the winter. I tried to look up the story, and all the links are dead. Like you can find Google will feed it to you, but when you click over to Surfline's website, it's gone. But yeah, that is a Hamish, one of the most famous Hamish boards I'd say ever.
yeah. That was such a cool photo and a cool board and made by a wonderful human. So yeah, rest in power. Yes, there's the board.
So I never met Hamish. But he was recommended a few times to me to be interviewed. Excuse me, to be interviewed for Surf Splendor. And I did email him a couple of times and never heard back from him. So unfortunately, we never got that on the record. But I heard nothing but wonderful things about him. And he was living in San Clemente when I was growing up. I lived in northern Orange County, but I would starting to spend time doing the drive down to Trestles and surfing uppers a lot. And there was a couple of local rippers who only rode those boards. And so I got to see them a lot in the lineup. And yeah, everybody had a lot of reverence for Hamish. So great email.
Look how narrow that board looks, like the way he's holding it in his arm, like the bend in his elbow. Like that thing's sleek. That's a sleek and sexy machine right there that Hamish made. That thing is cool.
So cool. The other final note here, uh, Eric referenced Bob Hawkinson's glass shop. I have had the pleasure of meeting Bob a handful of times and even being to that glass shop in Goleta. And what an incredible um, figure in the surf world,
Yeah,
just steeped in history. So much has gone on through there.
yeah, tons for sure. Hawkinson, um, Channel Islands, of course, further back, Greeno, and yeah, I mean, Goleta.
Last time I was there, you were talking about those Yater boards earlier. Last time I was there was probably a year ago, and Yater was still shaping. Yater had a room there at Hawkinson still, and he goes, and I've seen him there a couple of other times, but yeah, Bob said Yater, I think he was like winding up his career at that time, and Bob was like, Yater's got 8 more boards to finish. He's coming in, he comes in one day a week, and he's going to finish 8 over the next 8 weeks, and then it's done, you know?
Yeah,
And they'd worked together for 50 years, those two guys.
yeah, that's cool. That is so cool. And somebody did send me something, I don't know, Wayne Rich or Kirk Putnam or somebody sent me something when Renny finished up his last board. It was, maybe a month ago or something, maybe something like that. I could be wrong, but I also have another sad passing in this same wonderful human, great shaper realm, and that's Bill Shrosbree. Bill Shrosbree passed away, known as Shroz to those of us who loved him. And Shroz had a long and storied history, starting in the South Bay of Los Angeles in the 60s. And now I don't know all of his history, so I'm probably going to butcher it, but I know that he shaped, or I believe that he shaped for one of the big factories back then. It was, I think it might have been Hap's Jacobs factory is where Shroz learned. And then he moved down to San Diego at some point, and he started working with Ed Wright and Sunset Surfboards and the guys who are now or were at one point Moonlight, Peter St. Pierre and Gary and those guys, Mark Donlan and those guys. And Shroz made me a number of boards. In fact, when I worked at Sunset Surfboards in the early 80s, and my very first custom Sunset Surfboard was from Bill Shrosbree. And super, I mean, you can't, just a very quiet and humble guy. And it's just a sweet man. And so anyway, I want to make note of that, thank you for all you did, Shroz. He was, like I said, just a quiet, wonderful, a lot of humility, good man.
Yeah, love to hear that. Rest in peace. I'm gonna go close out on a must-see moment presented by Treeswax. Look, we love petroleum-free surf wax, and you can get 20% off with code SPIT at treeswax.com. You can also find it at retailers up and down the West Coast. I think it's on some East Coast retailers as well. But treeswax.com if you want to save 20%, and it's a money-back guarantee if you buy online. So gotta love that. But my must-see moment, my must-see moment, Scott, I've talked about it in the past. Kyle Boothman up in Santa Cruz does this series called Brainwork, where he does basically little documentary, 10-minute documentary style films with various people, sometimes surfboard shapers. So since you and I are on the theme of surfboard shapers, I want you to see this clip from the recent video with Steve Coletta.
I could just tell by his beard. I'm like, that looks like Coletta.
It's Steve Coletta. I'm just going to play like the first minute, and it'll try to entice you guys to go to YouTube and watch it.
I don't know how. Some people are going to quit surfing for whatever reason, and some may quit shaping, but basically, if you're passionate enough about them, you're probably going to do it for as long as you live, Couldn't think of anything I would rather have done for the last 50 or 60 years.
I've been waiting
Making a sick drop in Mexico.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I've been breaking on my way. I've been breaking on my way.
Why did we start shaping? The issue was the industry was putting out longboards, but they weren't building any shortboards, and we saw shortboard surfing got introduced to us there probably late 66, early 67. So we had to make our own boards to pull it off. So a few of us got the hook on that, like that, and that's what we ended up doing for the rest of our lives. It was pretty cool. If you go the Nike Michael Jordan trip or the Hobie Alter Phil Edwards trip, you might make some bank along the way, but if you don't, it's still a pretty darn good thing to be doing,
So, Brainwork by Kyle Boothman. You can find it on YouTube or come to surfsplendorpodcast.com on today's show, and you'll find it there. But in the title of the episode, it mentions that Steve survived cancer twice. And so Steve talks his way through that and how he's kind of reorganized his life for he and his wife to go live in Mexico and start enjoying those years of life, doing what they want to do.
It's amazing. Two-time cancer survivor. Man, that is gnarly.
Kyle also interviews Adam Raplogle, Kieran Horn, rode his boards famously through the 90s, to success at the Coldwater Classic as well. But those guys are just like, Steve is the greatest shaper to ever come out of Santa Cruz. Like the guy is incredible. And um, yeah, I think even a lot of shapers up there would agree with that. His own contemporaries and competition would agree with that.
Well, I'm since we've been watching, but I've been actively searching for my Coletta board, which I still have. Um, it's in my little shed over there right now, and it's friggin' my go-to in the winter. And then I still ride it, and it's probably 8 or 10 years old. But you know how you have that one board where you're like, okay, it's one of those boards where like it'll be a first big winter day where I surf, and the local guys will be like, "Oh yeah, here comes the green board. He's breaking out the green board." They know, like when it's on, when it's serious wintertime surfing, the green board just feels oh so right, and it's one that Steve custom made for me, and it's beautiful. And that's a cool thing. Brainworks by Kyle Boothman. I'm going to check it out. I'm stoked on that.
He's also, I know you've spent a little bit of time with Steve, as have I, and he's just such a great spirit. And you get it from just his cadence of speech and the tone of his voice, just hearing him speak through that piece, you know? It's like, I want him to read me bedtime stories when I go to sleep at night, and I'll sleep better because of it.
And I've had Kalu make me boards too, his son.
Yeah.
Kalu, and he's quite a musician as well, Colin. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
believe Steve's living down in Mexico full time.
I think he is. He still comes up to Santa Cruz periodically and he's still making boards and stuff, but he's in retirement mode for sure.
Yeah.
So thank you, Treeswax. Also, thank you, Surfrider Foundation. Become a member. Consider becoming a member at the Surfrider Foundation. I first became a member, Scott, when I was 16 years old. I didn't maintain my membership throughout all of those years, but I am a member now, and kind of amazing organization to be involved with that in that length of time. And they've done incredible work, and they're really needed now more than ever. So consider becoming a member at surfrider.org because the ocean needs more friends, Scott.
I like that. The ocean does need more friends, you know? Let's do
Not
this.
just
Let's
surf,
writer.org.
not yeah, not just surfers. All of humanity needs the ocean to thrive.
Exactly. For God's sakes, let's get involved.
Well, Scott, do you have time for a bonus show today?
I do.
Sweet. Then let's close out Spit and recommend people to come over to Bonus Spit on
Oh,
Patreon.
wait. I found that's me on the Coletta.
Finally, that was worth searching all that time for, dude. That's a killer photo.
Well, it's not about me, it's about Steve. I was hoping to just find a picture of the board, but
That's a
you know,
killer bottom turn.
you know what's funny about this was the day. Have you ever heard the story where um Devin and I got into it out in the water?
Yeah,
This was the
tell
day,
it.
and this was the board.
Actually, tell it on the bonus show. Save it for the bonus show. This will be the teaser to get people to come over. Look, $5 a month.
Yeah,
Cheap. It's
you're
cheap.
gonna
Come
hear.
on over and we do bonus shows every week for Spit. Extra 30 minutes of Spit each week.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, get involved. Become a bonus show Patreon subscriber. Okay, until next time, adios and aloha.